who I am. I remember the Spirit in me. And I remember what I am. I remember the light inside of me. I remember. I remember, I remember, I remember, I remember who I am. Whoa, whoa. For who I am. I am grateful for the Spirit in me. I am thankful for what I am. I am thankful for the light inside of me. I'm thankful. I remember. Do you remember? Do you remember? Do you remember? Oh, remember, remember. Oh, remember, remember, remember who you are. You are love. You are light. You are peace. You are strength. You are hope. You are love. You are love. You are kind. You are peace. You are hope. Remember. Oh, remember. Remember who you are.
Beautiful, just beautiful. And we can remember who we are. I just did something to the buttons there, so I had to pause a moment. Wow, remember who you are. Powerful, powerful words. It's so easy for us to forget when the world calls us into so many different directions, it's easy to forget. So today we begin this gem of a book, Row, Row, Row Your Boat, a guide for living life in the divine flow, so that we remember who we are. An interesting observation I made about this book as I was preparing, in between the introduction and the acknowledgments, there's 108 pages of instruction and inspiration and wisdom and words. 108. Now for some people, 108 is significant. It's the number of beads on my mala, on my prayer mala. 1 represents divine presence. 0 represents the completion of our spiritual practice. And 8 represents infinity, for eternity. In science, the diameter of the sun is 108 times the diameter of the earth. So that puts things in a little bit of perspective of our place, however humble it is. And then 108 is the number of energy lines that converge into forming our heart chakra. 108 energy lines form our heart space. So as we begin this book study, just hold those things in your mind. It's 108 pages. It seems like not a huge book, but boy, it's rich in really good advice, really good material to create a nice life with. So I want to share the inspiration that led Stephen Lane Taylor to write this book. His profession was that of he was very successful as an advertising copywriter. And it just so happened that on a business trip to Los Angeles, he went into the hotel he was staying, and there in the hotel was another conference. And it was a big conference, and they had a big, huge banner that said, "Make it happen." Well, that struck a chord with Steve because that had been his motto all his life. Make it happen. Until that time, Steve believed that the world wasn't going to hand him anything. The world wasn't even going to make it easy for him. The way he saw it, that nothing was coming easily and nothing was for free. That it was foolish to put your faith into other people or anything other than self. And that he could only count on his own hard work, determination, and tenacity, and being in control. Now that one word, control, was the core of Steve's approach to how he lived life and gained his successes, being in control of all the details, how everything went. And there was a need for him to be in control of all of life, yet there was great disappointment and frustration because his exact desires didn't show up, even though he was carefully planning and strategizing and working to make all the pieces of the puzzle come together. It just wasn't happening. And he often sensed that the world was really against him instead of for him. And even in those moments that he was able to force things to go the way he wanted, often it created a whole new set of issues and problems. So life was feeling really cumbersome for Steve, heavy. And in his own words, he felt as though he was living a losing battle. Have you ever felt that? Until one afternoon, he was working on a project with his partner, Randy. And she said to him, "You know, Steve, Your way isn't the only way. It's just a different way. It might not even be the best way. You don't know everything. Pretty courageous on her part, don't you think? But it wasn't the only time, it wasn't the first time that Steve had heard these words about his need to be in control of everything. But there was something very vastly different about this time in hearing those words. As those words landed on Steve, he became willing to make a change in how he lived life and his approach to his business. He was willing to make a change. So slowly, and as you might imagine, anybody who's tried to change a behavior, it's slow. It's very slow sometimes. But little by little, he began to change his need to be in control. And every little piece that he let go of, every time he let go of control, something miraculous happened. At the very moment that he let go of the idea that everything had to go his way to be just right, life would go better. Now, guaranteed, it didn't go quite like he had envisioned it. It was better than what he had imagined. So instead of working against him, Steve began to see life and the world as working for him. We've all had that happen. It's the this or something better of our intentions and our prayers that we allow the universe to bring something better than what we can imagine in our human. So as Steve experienced less stress and more success, and he realized that he was actually living in the flow of life. You know that feeling? When everything in your day seems to go perfectly. We have those days from time to time when you're at the right place at the right time. When all the people that you need to see and encounter show up. They're either standing at your door, calling you on the phone. Somehow, some way, all the right people show up in your world. And all the resources that you need. If you need a printer, someone offers you a printer. Whatever it is you need shows up. Seeming miraculously. So how did it feel to you when you had that kind of day? It felt pretty good. Like the whole world's here to celebrate life with you and to support you, conspiring for your good, so to speak. And would you like more of those kinds of days? Yes? Yes, I would too. So of course we all would want those days. It's when we're living in the flow of the divine. Life isn't a struggle. You don't have to fight for what you want. You don't have to defend what you have. And your needs can be met easily and consistently. Now we recognize this as living in divine flow, that space where we feel that connection with our higher power, whatever it is you call that essence and energy that is greater than ourselves, that which guides us through our intuition along the way. We call it Source, Great Master, Divine Mind, Universal Love, God, whatever name you have for that. It's the essence, and the name doesn't matter. What matters is that we remember that source is available to us at all times. That source is moving in us and expressing as us always. That source is our good. That source, if that source wanted anything for us, it would be our good. So it's guiding us towards greater, richer, better, than what we might experience today. So Steve has given us a way to remember that living in the flow of life can be fun and easy and jovial. And it's a song that most of us have sung, and Robin's going to help us remember it.
See if you can remember this. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily. Life is but a dream.
Wow, I knew I couldn't do that. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, merrily, merrily. Life is but a dream. With those words, Steve has given us a way to move in life. So it begins with launching our unique boat. That's us. That's each of us. And if we look around this room, there isn't anybody else in this room that looks like you. There isn't anybody that walks like you, talks like you, sings like you, a distinctive singing voice. And you came into this world to be that which you are, that beautiful, unique expression. Now, you have heard me say this before, but I think it's worth saying again. The world needs you to be who and what you are, because there is nobody else that is you. There is nobody else that expresses as you. Yes, everybody in this room and all of you over on virtual world, you express love. And every single person expresses it just a little bit differently, a little uniquely, that somebody else in this world is waiting to receive love exactly the way you express it. So don't be shy. Don't hold back. You are a unique and beautiful expression of the divine. So go and be that. Be all of that. And there's a collection of gifts and talents that you have that are unlike anybody else. You will never want to hear me sing. Never. And yet I do. And there's no one expresses life just as you do. There's no one that shares talents the way you do. There's no one that touches hearts just like you do. And there's no one who enters a room and fills it the way you do. And the world needs you to be your boat here and now. And so here you have this vessel, this masterpiece that is you. And it's our body. It's the part of us that guides us and directs us on our journey. It's a process. And then we have our mind. We have our thinking mind. And that thinking mind reasons all the facts. It remembers all the information and experience it. And it reacts to the world. So if you're in your boat and there's a big branch, your boat reacts to that. So if you're traveling through life and there's this big gnarly obstacle, you veer to the opposite direction. Our boat, our thinking mind interprets what's happening around us, and it analyzes and chooses. We always have that ability to choose. And then there's more. There's this aspect of divine flow. By all of those names we call it. It's our life force that is that absolute, unchangeable part of us. It's our soul essence that never changes. It's the truth of our being. So when we go spinning off into the ways of the world, there's that essence of us that brings us back in time. It's our truth. It's what resonates with us. When we hear something that's true, it's our soul that it's resonating with. And our human mind changes moment by moment. But this divine part of us never changes. We might respond in anger about something, and yet it is our divine mind, our core essence, our true essence that reminds us that anger isn't going to fix anything. We can express our anger, and it's good to get our anger out, and then we move forward in constructive ways. And this is the part of our life, that inner soul of our being. It's what calls us to remember that as we sit here, as we move about our days, that we're these amazing spiritual beings having this human experience. This human experience is our teachers, how we grow and expand in our spiritual way of living. So now we have our boat, we have our physical body, we have our mind that's thinking and assessing, and then we have that force of our life, which is our spirit. So we're moving body, mind, and spirit in this boat. It's the threefold nature of our essence, of who we are. And when we're in harmony, we experience this flow of life. When our mind remembers that we're spirit living in the human, we move in that beautiful flow of life. We move with ease and joy and grace, with a smile on our face most of the time. And that's what creates those days that feel exactly the way they're supposed to be. And then we have another aspect that Steve represents, and it's the oars. You know, if you get into a boat, if you don't have your oars, you're stuck, just floating along. And I speak of what I know. Kayaking. You ever lose an oar when you're kayaking? Lose a paddle? Oh my, not fun. You hope for a big log to come by so you can grab onto it. And it happens. It happens whether you're out kayaking a river or if you're living life. Sometimes, wow, we lose track of that oar. So our oar represents our free will, and it can propel us in any direction we choose. We get to choose. We can choose to stay on the rough and rugged way. We can do that whitewater rafting all through life. Or we can take the calm and easy streams. We get to choose that. So Steve gently points out that some of our destinations are close by. Some of them are easy to get to. And some of them require great stamina, strength, persistence, and resilience, and pure stubbornness sometimes, just to get there. And whatever our destination, it's our unique gifts, our talents that we share with the world that allow us to be in that stream. Now, this boat represents our body, mind, and spirit being propelled by the oars, our free will, to carry us through life. And we might remember also that as we yield our will, as we yield our human desires to the divine desires, that divine part of ourselves, all of life will move with a lot more ease, a lot more simply, a lot less troublesome. Now, of course, life happens, and we're significantly impacted by this collective consciousness of the world. So sometimes to stay our course, it takes a lot more practice. It takes being more diligent with our prayer, with our meditation, with our mindfulness practices, being present to every moment. Yet it grows us too. So life, without a doubt, looks different than when our human mind imagines. And when we live in the flow, we allow the space for that divine part to express. Let it look different. I can promise you there was never a day that I sat at home and thought that I would be a unity minister. Never thought that, never imagined that. I didn't have the sense or the wherewithal to imagine something so wonderful, so glorious, so gracious in my life. And yet here I am. But we have to be willing, just as Steve was willing on that day in Los Angeles, to listen to what his partner said. And when we allow ourselves to let go of what we think must be, the things that should be. Oh boy, that's a good one, huh? Yes. Because there's many musts and shoulds. Oh, the places you shall go, the fun you shall have. The adventures of life are endless, and life opens in ways that our human mind cannot even begin to imagine. And I know that you have lived those moments. So hang on to your boat, grab your oars, and let's go. All right, you know how it goes. Left hand over right arm, right hand over left, and give yourself a fabulous big squeeze. You have been loved and hugged by me. Namaste.
Wow, thank you for that. That was amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much. This is the moment. This is the hour. Time to put everything on the line, yeah. And I am the answer. I am the reason. I'm a believer. It's all inside of me. And I will not be broken by some fear. And I will not stand still again, no. And I won't fall apart like all those times before, 'cause I won't take it anymore. 'Cause this is a revolution. I am a changer. I am the master of all I believe. I am a lover. I'm the beloved. This is your moment. This is your moment. This is your moment.
Thank you for that, Robin. It is indeed your moment. Pardon me while I catch up with myself here. Technology and electronics continue to raise me to new levels. We at Unity on Greenville have a mission, a purpose for being. So please share that mission with me aloud. With divine love as our foundation, we live unity, spiritual principles. We awaken to truth. We affirm the innate goodness of all and our oneness with creation. Next week, Arwen's going to be here in the sanctuary so you all can meet her. She's going to Zoom with the kids beforehand. And as we speak now, our children are enjoying time with Arwen. So let's share our affirmation for our children. We, as Unity on Greenville, claim the truth for our youth. We teach principles that inspire each child and teen to fulfill their divine potential. Through fellowship, love, prayer, and meditation, they connect with God, with each other, and our world. Amen. And today's daily word, the word is balance. With God, I live a life of balance. Work can be fulfilling use of my talents and efforts. I may enjoy the challenge of growing in responsibility and using my ambition to accomplish great things. But if I work too much for too long, my energy might start to wane and my thinking become dull and uninspired. Likewise, too much leisure time may rob me of motivation and pull me into a spiral of inactivity. Spiritual practices bring precious balance into my life. Through prayer, I touch eternity and feel the presence of God within. Through meditation, I focus my mind and feel calm and grounded. Through speaking affirmations, I claim divine ideas and act on inspiration. In gratitude, I find balance in God, the one presence and one power in my life. And Job 31 verse 6 says, "Let me be weighted in a just balance. Let God know my integrity." And the affirmation again is, with God, I live life of balance. We're going to close today with a peace song, so Herb, would you?
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God, our Creator, and we are family. Now let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Oh, let peace begin with me. Let this be a moment now, with every step I take. Let this be my silent vow to take each moment and live each moment in peace, eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin in me.
as you go into the world this week, remember, this is your moment. Use it for good. Let's share the prayer for protection with the world. As we lift our hands, we say, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us wherever we are. God is. Amen.
And all the while I could not help but see the life that lives and breathes in you and me. And I'm peaceful, yes, and I'm grateful, oh, and I'm thankful, oh Lord. Yes, I am, and I'm hopeful, yes, and I am so full, and I'm thankful, oh, I am. Yes, I'm thankful, oh, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. So grateful, so peaceful, so thankful. I am. Thank you all. Thank you.